Good morning. How is everybody today? I've been up for about an hour and a half. I wrote late into the night on my manuscript. I got a flow going and off I went to the races. I'm getting closer, guys. I'm really excited. I feel like I'm at about 75% done, as in like the raw data. I'm gonna have to find an editor. I don't know what that costs. I don't know what that looks like, but I think I'm getting close and I'm just so excited. Because now that I'm getting closer, now I'm starting to feel and understand what the next manuscript looks like. And there's a couple places that I have to go back and I have to add more information. I'm hoping I don't have two books in this manuscript, because it's all together, like it's all valuable information together. Anyway, so that was last night. I stayed up a little bit later than I should have, but I've been up for an hour and a half now, at least. Wait, no, 2 hours. I've been up for 2 hours. I was going back through my manuscript this morning, drinking my tea. Hooray. So today's card is still number 27, Pono Pono. Immeasurable power of the heart way. The moment something comes into your awareness, we are responsible for it. The mind can rebel at this and can say it is unfair, unduly burdensome, or shaming to think in that way. That is because the mind confuses responsibility with guilt and giving with a deficit. The heart, though, is joyful at the prospect of spiritual responsibility because your heart understands that it offers the empowerment to make a difference and that healing one helps to heal all. I think that's really important. I've always looked at healing people is whoever it is that's on that energy table, or whoever that client is that has come to me for healing, for guidance, for blueprint activation, for any of that. That person is not an island. That person is connected to other people in their community. And they have now become part of my community. Somehow, some way, they have made that connection with me. Hence, it's my responsibility to make sure that whatever I do with that client, whatever those ripple effects are as healing as possible. And that sounds really ego, right? Like, oh my God, that's just your ego owning other people's stuff. No, I'm not taking in their stuff to myself. I am sharing with them my light. I'm sharing with them information about their own blueprint. I am healing what little bits that I can with them so that their burden is lighter in their journey. And that cascading energetic effect carries on to all of their interactions. But it's not for me, it's for them as a healer. But I own the responsibility of right action in that moment. So, step 1, I am responsible for the situation. 2, I forgive. If there's any fear involved, I forgive. And I say thank you. Step 3 is thank you. And step 4 is I love you. Now, these are the hardest ones, really, because to say thank you to the universe is accepting that anything that comes into your sphere is part of your journey and is part of your lesson. We all have vibrational frequencies that we are learning. We all have life paths. We all have blueprints. We all have each moment the opportunity to learn and take that back home. You know, when they talk about people who've had near-death experiences and their life flashes in front of their eyes, that's a real thing. That's actually on a spiritual, like, blueprinty, transferring to the other side. We all have the ability to review our lives and choose what that next lesson is going to be. Some people have what I call transitionals, where something happens and vibrationally they need to change. They need to transition vibrationally in one lifetime. And that's usually when that flash before your eyes happens, is they're having to us, seems like a 5-second thing where their life goes in front of their face, right? Their mind's eye, everything's reviewed, and they have that leveling up transition wise where their vibrational frequency changes, and then their blueprint shifts a little bit. It's not that they get a whole new blueprint, it's that vibrationally things shift and they've taken that right angle into the next part of the life that they've chosen to live. I've segued just a little bit here, but when you say thank you and you feel the gratitude for that moment of learning, that's why you say forgiveness, why you forgive. You have to forgive in the situation and letting go of the fear. Letting go of the fear then gives you the opportunity to welcome in the love. Saying thank you allows the love to come in, allows that universal love, universal God, entity, whatever it is, to come through and wash through your system, so that you have the ability to say, I return that love. We are, as spiritual entities, made of love. That's what we're made of. We're made of the raw element of love. You know, on earth we live with the 5 elements. I will say a very racy statement there, the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, spirit. But what is spirit? Spirit is love. That is what spirit is. Fear cannot live where love is. And real love, real 100%, what it is love, doesn't have room for fear. There's no place for fear in that. So when you go through the steps of owning a situation, owning a moment, forgiving, releasing the fear, saying thank you, accepting love, and then I love you, responding with your own love. Anytime you have something that triggers that fear or triggers that discomfort, following that, you know, this particular card is very much based in a Hawaiian native methodology, but it is pretty universal in most of the native methodologies that I have researched and studied, and what I'm also quite familiar with, and is reinforced all the time with my guides, with sessions, with energy work, with anything that I've ever done. It's been reinforced. And the biggest part of that is the recognition in the moment, the ownership. If you find yourself in a place where you're not sure, where you're afraid, where somebody triggers something. So I use this very much in moments where I go someplace. So I have autism and I have ADHD, and I am extremely intuitive, and I have been in situations where I will use a very specific instance recently. I say recently, but in the last couple months, where there is a particular person that I worked with off and on at the hotel. And when I met him, he made my skin crawl. I didn't like him. I met him actually over a video conference first, and I didn't like him then, and then I met him in person, and then I had very much of like a a visceral response to that blueprint, to he has a very, very strong negative life theme, as in very much, I won't tell you what it is, but it's not pleasant, okay? And someone like me, who's as sensitive as I am, I'm gonna have a visceral response. Like, I got nauseous, I had a headache, I was cranky all day, I was really having a hard time that second and then a third encounter. And then I had to go to a manager meeting with this guy and spend 3 days crammed in a small room with a whole bunch of people. And he was literally the only icky one there. And I had to remind, this is the methods that I've used for years and years and years when I feel trapped in a situation like that I feel like I don't have any say-so of how to solve the problem. I start with, I acknowledge and I own that is my response to that person's blueprint. I own it. I can't fix it. I can recognize it. I can know that I'm having a negative response. I know that there is something there that I intrinsically want to get away from to make myself feel safe. But I also know that that's his shit and it's not my shit, right? The second thing I do is I forgive. I forgive him in my space. I forgive myself in that space. I forgive myself for the fear. I forgive him for his whatever it is that he's going to do. I say thank you to the universe for that lesson. I don't thank him, but I do thank the universe. But I do thank him also. I have to layer it. For me, I have to layer it. I forgive me first for my reactions, that I own that fear and I've forgiven that fear. I also thank the universe and I thank him for that negativity because it reinforces my already knowing. I know what he's going to do that's bad. And I know what he's done that's bad. That has nothing to do with what's going on in the room necessarily all the time. But I thank the universe for the lesson because that thank allows me to accept the love of the universe and that place of peace that comes in with that. And then I say, I love you. And I can look at that person who has that negative life theme that gives me the willies, that makes me very physically uncomfortable. I can say I love you because I can see the soul behind that blueprint and behind that agitating life theme that triggers me. That person is not a dark entity. He doesn't have an absent blueprint. He has a blueprint. He's an agitator. And he's done things and he will continue to do things. But I can still love the soul that's there because he's just wearing a flesh sack just like I am. He's wearing an external shell. The soul itself is still beautiful. And then that allows me in that moment in space as the psychic in the room to look at the people in the room and know who he's going to negatively affect the worst and allow my soul and my guides to help me help them. Allow me to give them the words they need for the future when he does the things that he's going to do. And that's exactly what I did. I allowed the love to come through so that I could allow the message to come through and the purpose for me even being there. And the purpose for me being there was to be able to give those individuals the warning, the message, the love, the healing that they are going to need out in the future. And I don't know if that's a month out, a week out, 2 weeks out, 6 months out, 2 years out. I don't know. Not really. Time and I have this weird relationship of I struggle with time sometimes. It's this convoluted mess of tangled threads and it doesn't always run in a straight line. So the immeasurable power of the heart way, this card talks about the 4 steps of harnessing that heart energy, owning it and allowing yourself. I love I love how it says this. The heart is joyful the prospect of spiritual responsibility because it understands that it offers the empowerment to make a difference, and that healing one helps heal all. We all, every single one of us, even if you don't think you're gifted at all, each of us has a team of spirit guides, and we all have gifts that we put into our blueprint to help us. It's our choice to use it or to not use it. But our soul wants the responsibility of owning what intuition is coming at us. And our heart and our spirit wants to be able to turn around and give love back. But you got to get through all the noise first, and acknowledging, owning, being responsible for what's coming at you. Forgiveness, forgive and let go of the fear. Say thank you, accept love back from the universe, and say I love you, and turn that love back around. We all have the ability to do this. This is not a spiritualist always being in the light thing. This is a real world applicable technique that can work for all of us. I mean, can you imagine if every time somebody got angry at you, they stopped, took a deep breath in, and followed these steps? It doesn't mean your anger goes away about the situation, but it can put a pause, put a pin in that emotion, and allow the spirits between those two people to communicate with integrity and love and a place of peace. Of course, that's an idealized world, and of course I have hope that eventually we will all do that, because I'm an idealist, right? I want everybody to love each other and get along. But I can acknowledge that it doesn't happen that way. Anyway, that's a little bit longer for daily devotional today. I have a big day of just art ahead of me. The last 2 days I've had meetings and I've had clients and sessions. So today's the art day. Tomorrow I have a meeting, and no clients tomorrow, but I do have a meeting. And Friday I have another meeting. I'm getting together with Dana, which is like always love and joy. And then Saturday I'm going to Idaho. So I have a chunk of stuff that I need to get done today, because I don't have much time over the next couple days to just focus on artsy stuff, getting ready for Great Western War. I think I'm down to like 33 days to Great Western War or something like that. 32 days. Not very long. It's starting to creep up on me. So have a beautiful day, my friends, and I will see you tomorrow in prayer. Blessed be.